Assuming you will live until you are 80, you have about 4,000 weeks left. Of course, you can be one of the lucky ones and make it to 90, but you're still in the 4,000s. Hello and welcome back. In this video, I want to go over one of the best read I've had in the last, I would say, 6 months. It's called 4,000 Weeks. It was recommended by one of my favorite YouTubers, Ali Abdaal. He usually has a very good list of books that he recommends, and every time I followed his advice, I actually had an amazing experience. Let's go over time management for mortals. There are certain truths that we have to accept when it comes to our life, is that no matter how productive we are and no matter how much we think we can get done in a day, in our lifetime, we are finite and our time is very limited. And we should really be very careful with how we choose to spend it. Another thing is we can't control the future, no matter how much we plan it. As Napoleon said, that nothing was ever achieved without a plan, but nothing ever went according to a plan. So by trying to plan very tediously every little thing you need to do, you will most likely fail. From a cosmic perspective, we are very insignificant, even if we are stardust. And generally, as humanity, we are a very young generation, and we do have a limited time on Earth. And to actually realize how mortal we are and how fragile our life is going to put life in a different perspective. And this book truly opened my eyes. One of the key points that he covers is that we focus too much on the future by actually not enjoying the experience in the moment. You know, when you are a child, you cannot wait to be an adult, which actually makes it worse for your experience as a child. And the same thing when you are a young adult, you cannot wait to be successful and graduated and have a full-time job, which actually makes you lose on the very important experience as a student, as a young adult. So once we recognize that we are very limited in time, it's going to, at least for me, it gave me so much needed freedom. And one of those, because there's that much I can control, there is that much that it's under my control. Everything else, it's just the way life will unfold itself. The list of things that we can do is infinite, but we are finite, so we need to really choose carefully. Also, he covers in this book that the modern concept of time is really a wrong approach to life. In the good old times, every time was actually measured by a task. It was not measured by time per se. There were no watches back then. So if a task took you an hour and a half, you would calculate that as a time. Oh, it took me around an hour and a half, around how long it takes you to cook a meal. Now we are surrounded by watches everywhere on our devices, on our houses, our laptops, our TVs. So it's kind of hard for those especially who have problems with time management to fit in everything they want to do in one day. And generally it was not meant to be like that. We were not meant to be that busy and that overwhelmed. So basically in this book, the author talks about the efficiency traps. So for example, if you are very efficient at work and you get your responsibilities done that much faster, you will be loaded with much more work. Same thing with housework. Since housewives, let's put it that way, sounds a bit sexist, that, you know, dishwashers were introduced and washing machines. Now they're expected for the house to be spotless nonstop because they have all of these machinery at their disposal, which is again a wrong approach, because the more you clean, the more you have to clean. Same thing with emails. The faster you clean out your email, the faster it loads up with more emails again. It was actually proven that for someone who doesn't reply to emails right away, people who are trying to reach you or person who is trying to get something from you or pick your brain will find a way out and become much more productive and much more knowledgeable in something that he was trying to bug you about. So there's a good thing, because I'm one of those people. Sometimes it takes me days to reply to an email. Same thing applies to bucket lists and leisures. We all have those bucket lists with the things we want to do and everything we want to achieve. But in reality, you have to flip those things, because it is virtually impossible to get everything done. And you have very limited time. And at some point you will realize that instead of going and jumping off a helicopter, I would would rather spend time with my family or, do something less risky. Today, even our leisure time needs to be productive, unfortunately. Even when you rest, you feel like, oh, I have to read a book or do something. It's not just resting. But Aristotle's approach to life was that we should be leisuring and relaxing all the time, and only we should be interfered with a task here and there. But generally, we should be resting. The sociologists even came up with a name for those people who cannot rest, and it's called idleness aversion. Basically, every time you are sitting down and you're trying to still your mind, you feel guilty. So this particular feeling tends to push you to be productive even when it's your rest time, even if you were productive up until that point. This particular trait, I would say it's a character trait, will force you to be slightly productive when you rest. You will not be 100% productive, obviously, but you will feel like, oh, I can go through a book, or I can go through my schedule, or I can go through my Instagram or something. But that's not resting, and it's actually an epidemic at this point. I hope you will take my advice and you will read the book. I would recommend the physical book, because I tend to highlight things that really impressed me. And in general, time management is one of the hot topics. And today, day and age, everyone seems to be a guru and a professional when it comes to how you should manage your time. In the end, it all comes down is how you set up your priorities. What is most important to you? That's what you should start your day with. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. Please do comment down below if you managed to purchase this, if you read it, what was your take on the book. Other than that, I'll see you in my next video.